Welcome, everyone. It is a very special episode here on Old Roommates today. We are celebrating our 4th anniversary. Woo! 4 years of revisiting movies, TV shows, music videos. Woo-hoo! And we are here to celebrate. We have some interesting information. We have our Roomie Awards coming up. So settle in, take a load off, and enjoy this very special anniversary episode.
Welcome, everybody, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina.
And this is our special 4-year anniversary episode.
Gosh.
This is basically a revisit of our revisits, really. It's a
yes,
revisit.
For sure.
It's looking back on our revisits, which
of
is...
of the past year of revisits.
Oh, the past year, yes.
Yes.
And, wow, it's really been something.
I cannot believe this is our 4th anniversary special. This is insane.
I know. Any little thoughts on the past year, Christina?
You know, I don't know. I feel like every year we get better at this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more clean. The production is better. We learn more things about making this sound more professional. I think just like the structure of it is nicer. And I feel like, and this is, I don't know what this means really, but I feel like every year we tend to agree more.
I find that.
Isn't that funny?
Yes. I'm agreeing right now.
I kind of miss that first year when we used to have these drag down fights.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? I don't know if it's I don't know if we're looking at these revisits differently or what, but we'll have to analyze that at some point.
Maybe because we probably front-loaded this project way back when with, like, things we were really wanting to see.
Yes.
Because now we're entering a phase where it's like, we're revisiting things that we didn't really like that much the first time around.
Yeah,
so,
some of them.
So I think that's why. Because I think in the beginning we're like, we have to rewatch Sex and the City.
My favorite episodes.
Yeah, we have to watch, Cheers or...
And Labyrinth was my favorite. And Princess Bride. And like...
Anything with Cher in it.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, it was like... And so, of course, we were going to fight the second we didn't agree. So I think now that those have sort of gotten out of our system, and I'm sure there's still beloved things we have yet to revisit, but... I think, we haven't had, like, the hurtful fights.
Yeah, we might be a tad more respectful.
Yeah, a little bit more respectful. But let's dive into some numbers. So
sure.
I quickly want to say some big thank yous, international thank yous.
Oh, my gosh.
Because this year, more than any other year, and we don't know why it happened or how it happened, but we are so grateful that it happened, that Canada, Denmark, Spain... Those 3, we have landed in the top 100, sometimes the top 50 of their film review podcasts. We don't know why.
Thank you. Thank you to
but
all
we're
of
very, very happy. We don't know how you're finding us, but we are so glad that you're joining us for these revisits.
Yes, for sure.
And we thank you so much for that. And thank you, America as well.
Yes, America.
It's a bigger deal. It's we don't crack those charts as often as we'd like, but I think it's all good. We have some very dear, diehard listeners
for sure
that are very vocal.
Yeah.
When we don't,
and we love that.
Something.
We love being. I love when you're vocal. Please send us emails. We love hearing from you. It's oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Yes.
So please feel free to send us an email. Send us some suggestions if you'd like us to try to revisit something. Keeping in mind we both need to have seen that particular movie, and sometimes just also keeping in mind, even if it's a beloved movie of yours, it's not necessarily going to be
I think that's why they quieted down, because we were getting requests a lot. By the way, we're still up. We go up every single year in listeners and downloads, which is awesome, and we are very appreciative of that. The requests have died down, I think, because we've had things where it's like, can you please rewatch this? And then we don't like it.
Right. It sometimes happens.
Yeah, sometimes.
But, and also, I mean, we've revisited over
Goonies,
200 movies and videos and TV shows. So, I mean, I don't even know what episode we're on right now, but it's like 210 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen a lot of,
yeah.
we've done a lot of revisits is basically what it is. But please email us and, just give us your opinions.
Follow us on Instagram.
I mean, we love hearing from you.
And now speaking of numbers, let's get into our top 10 episodes of the past 12 months.
Crazy.
Christina, so we'll start at number 10. Do you want to go back and forth?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Number 10, Melrose Place, episode 165.
Amazing.
That does kind of surprise me. It's a longer episode. The TV show episodes
TV
tend to
shows
be
are
longer.
always so long.
But I did love revisiting.
It was a great revisit. Number 9, the children's classic Charlotte's Web, episode number 157.
Number 8 is our 3rd anniversary special.
Thank you
Yeah.
all so much. That makes me feel so good.
I predict this might be family members and friends that are like, oh shit, I haven't listened in so long. I'll just listen to it. I'll just catch up with the anniversary episode.
Well, also, I feel like it's an easy episode to listen to because you don't feel like you have to have had watched that movie.
Very true.
Or a TV show or music video, rather. And so it's easier to listen to that episode.
Yes.
Number 7 was Before Sunrise.
And that surprises you.
That surprises me. It's episode number 153. But that does surprise me because I don't feel like it's such a popular movie. But you've made that point before where some of the more obscure movies, they may not have as many podcasts about them.
Yeah.
So they land on us.
Yeah.
So.
Number 6, Billy Idol music videos. This one surprises me. But again, it's that thing. It's like, I mean, this is not a dig, but it's like, who's talking about Billy Idol music videos on their podcast? Probably not that many people. So it's nice that we can provide the service. And I actually really enjoyed that episode in rewatching this stuff.
I did too. And the other thing too about the music videos, as opposed to a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you can easily pause our episode and watch the 2 music videos and then unpause and be able to join in the conversation.
Probably the easiest way to introduce yourselves to how we do things with this podcast.
Sure.
Number 5. Oh, sorry.
It's my turn. Thank you very much. Number 5 was the Blair Witch Project, episode number 156. It doesn't really surprise me that much because our scary movies usually do
perform
pretty well.
Yeah. Number 4, the blockbuster Titanic, number 174. It was number 4 for the year.
Number 3, The Breakfast Club with our special guest
Naomi.
And this was our episode right after our 3rd anniversary.
Yes, it was our season premiere.
Our season premiere, exactly. Episode number 160.
Yeah, that was so much fun. And we hope to have her back very soon.
Yes.
Number 2, the Spice Girls music videos revisit episode 154. This came out, I think. Oh, actually, there's a few. Never mind. I'm going to withdraw that statement. I would say this came out the previous year, but actually more than a few of these did. So the Spice Girls music video, that was good. I mean, we know they have diehard fans, so that doesn't surprise me much.
And then our number 1 download is the Backstreet Boys music videos.
Yeah.
So 3 music videos made our top 10 list. This is episode number 130. And then our fun fact about this episode, the Backstreet Boys episode was actually number 2 last year.
The Backstreet Boys has some real fans out there.
They've got some diehard fans.
And I can only hope they liked our episode.
But we haven't heard anything.
We haven't heard anything negative.
So that's usually someone is upset about something. We hear about it. We don't always hear the compliments.
So moving right along, sometimes listeners, Christina and I do disagree.
Every once in a while.
And we just have to drop it. And we have to turn to Instagram. And we do an Instagram poll to say like, hey, how are you feeling about this?
Right.
Who's right? Who's wrong? And we don't even say who, we just say the opinions and let them vote. So one was pretty important, the Baby Boom episode.
Yes.
Which actually was in a previous one, but I asked the question in the new season. So episode 145. But we disagreed with who dumped who.
Yeah,
so
and we had very, very different perspectives on this.
Yes, because if you remember J.C. Wyatt, played by Diane Keaton, she has the baby at home, and Steven, her New York boyfriend, is like, I can't do this. She's like, no, huh? And then the next thing you know, she's alone with the baby. And so we're like, well, and I believe that she dumped him. Christina believed that he dumped her. And 73% of our Instagram audience said they agreed with me. Sorry, Christina.
That's quite
that
right.
she dumped him. But 27% is not shabby.
Right.
And that he dumped her. So the world may never know.
The world may never know. We should just ask, we should have Diane Keaton on this podcast and ask her directly.
Well, if she listened to my first Wives Club episode, she probably wouldn't agree to that.
Oh, yeah.
The best 90s Keanu, 46% said Point Break. And that's episode 95. 38% said Speed, which we have not revisited.
No, we haven't.
And 15% said The Matrix, which we have not revisited.
Which is interesting, yeah. No,
I thought The Matrix...
Bill and Ted? Did you have Bill and Ted up there?
Well, that 90s or 80s.
Oh, that's probably 80s, yeah.
But it's funny, I thought The Matrix would have wiped them out.
I would have thought so, too.
There's been a million sequels.
But, I don't know, maybe it's just not our audience.
Maybe.
I don't know. You never know.
So, and then the next one was, we revisited Ghost, episode 161. And the big moment where Demi Moore's character kisses a ghostly Patrick Swayze almost made Christina puke.
Yeah.
She thought it was incredibly cheesy.
Yeah, it just didn't look too good to me.
So we asked...
Not very passionate.
We asked Instagram. 27% agreed with Christina. It's so funny. 27% on the other one as well.
Oh my god.
9 said cheesy.
Hey, that's my fan base right there.
It's actually, I'm going to give
27%.
I'm actually going to give you 36% because kind of cheesy was also in there.
Yeah.
So say 36%, and then 64% said the kiss was amazing.
Yeah, and I question if they revisited that.
How dare
recently.
you?
I'm just curious. Some of this could make a difference.
The worst babysitting job, and actually even Instagram was tied on this one. I don't know if we feel differently now. But the worst babysitting job, watching Damien from The Omen or babysitting Henry from The Good Son. For me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm watching Henry from The Good Son. I'm just going to lock him in a room.
Yeah. Yeah. Easily.
I mean, Damien can move, with Mrs. Baylock.
Like all the special
possessions and
the
dog and But The Omen, for anyone's interested, The Omen is episode 119. The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin is 149.
And it was a tie. That's really
It was
funny.
a tie, yeah. Blair Witch, the camping question. So we asked, would you rather camp at Crystal Lake, Friday the 13th, or the Black Hills of the Blair Witch Project? 69%. This surprised me. I'm going to be honest.
I would have thought it would be 90% Crystal Lake.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Why? Jason is crazy.
But Jason's gone. He's gone.
What do you mean? Crystal Lake, Friday the 13th.
He's gone. He's dead. He's all
No, Christina.
Well, I wouldn't go swimming.
No, I guess I'm talking about just like the aura of
I see
the idea of Jason being in those woods. Knowing what we know.
Okay, yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. But still, I think I'd still agree with Crystal Lake though, because I feel like it's very similar to your babysitting job.
Babysitting?
But hey, you say tomato, I say tomato. It was a very, very close, because with the Blair Witch, it was very mystical, magical.
Yes.
And with Crystal Lake, it was like basically a person.
I guess that's true. And if we are focusing on the first movie of Friday the 13th, then it's just the mom, and she was only killing the teenagers
and
that
she was old.
let her son drown. So, 69% said Camp Crystal Lake. All right, and this one we need
and
a
that
tiebreaker.
was Friday the 13th was episode 12.
12.
Can you believe that was 12?
Episode 12.
Episode 12. I can't believe it was so long ago. It feels very recent. And then Blair Witch was 156.
And then the most recent one, we revisited sexy MTV music videos. Controversial. And it was George Michael, I Want Your Sex versus Madonna's Justify My Love. We could not agree, Christina and I, on the better video. So we turned to Instagram, and whopping 65% said, I Want Your Sex by George Michael is the sexier video. 35% said Justify My Love. Christina, how do you feel about that? They agreed with you.
I was very happy about that. Yeah, that made me happy. Very, very happy. Because I loved that movie to begin with, so... that
music
video. And this was a very important question, too, because this is what determined what was going into
the vault. And speaking of the vault, As you know, we revisit music videos, and we always pick one. We review two from the same artist or similar themes. We pick one of the two to go into the vault, our time capsule, which is available on Spotify, called The Vault by Old Roommates. And this year, in the vault, we added White Wedding by Billy Idol, Crazy by Aerosmith, which is episode 180, The Pleasure Principle by Miss Janet Jackson, 189, and I Want Your Sex now because they picked it, George Michael, 198.
Yes.
There is a glaring omission here.
Well, and then also Always Be My Baby.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
Mariah Carey.
Yes.
It was last week's episode.
Yes, thank you.
Talk about the omission.
So, we wanted to have some festive fun and revisit a couple of Christmas music videos from NSYNC, which is called Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Something like that,
I mean, clearly that's much effort they put into the song. And then the Wilson sisters, Hey Santa. After much deliberation in that episode, and trust me, it is rough going.
It's quite an episode.
It's quite
what
an
episode was it? Do you have it written down?
I didn't.
I don't either, but it was this past Christmas.
Yeah. And we decided that neither music videos were good enough for our vault.
Right. And I have a quote from our episode because
let's hear it.
we had talked about, because Brian was like, I don't want to put any, and I had chosen one. And I said, well, I didn't think that was an option. And we kind of had a conversation about it. It's like, that's fine. We won't. And our quote was, we respect them enough not to put a piece of crap in their stocking.
That's right.
So we said, you know what? We're not going to put one of these crappy things in our vault.
Yes.
We don't want that representing us.
Total. What's our vault? It's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
It'll be there long after we're gone.
Yes.
Sadly.
So, and we have quite a few others in our vault. Should we list them real quick?
Oh, sure.
I have a list. So, Love is a Battlefield. I'm not going to say who it's by. Love is a Battlefield. We're Not Going to Take It. Take on Me. Sledgehammer. Careless Whisper, and Wake Me Up Before You Go by Wham, because that was another one that was...
Even our audience couldn't agree.
Yeah, even our audience couldn't agree. So we have both of them in there. And New Drug and If This Is It are also in there.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of ties over the years.
Yeah.
We Are the World. Head Over Heels by the Go-Go's. Eat It. Not Beat It.
Yep.
Eat It by Weird Al. Express Yourself Sometimes by Britney. Hello. You Ought to Know. I'll Be There For You by Bon Jovi. Everybody by Backstreet Boys, Rio by Duran Duran, and To Become One by the Spice Girls.
Nice.
And as Brian mentioned, we have a Spotify station. It's called The Vault by Old Roommates, and you can listen to all of these amazing songs.
It's more of a playlist, if I'm being clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's pretty.
It's
pretty
good.
Amazing.
It's good. It's good. Like I think you've said that before, but our other playlist we had, which was like it's good house, like when you're cleaning the house.
Yeah, cleaning your house, like just put it on the background. It's amazing. It's really really fun because you never know what's going to pop up.
That's right, Christina. I think it might be time.
Before we start,
I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
I just have a question because we've been doing this all year long.
Oh.
And I have a question for you, Brian.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have, before we start into get into the categories and things like that for the roomies?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode? Like a favorite Old Roommates episode from this past year?
Yes.
What is your favorite episode?
I think I have a couple, but...
I have a couple too.
The one that I think... I don't know why, but it just tickles me. And I have played it once in a while because we laugh a lot in it. And we have a really good time revisiting it, even if we maybe didn't love it. But Rocky IV.
Oh,
Rocky IV is such... I didn't write down the episode number, but yeah. But I mean, I love that episode. It's very efficient too. We fly through it, but we're also very thoughtful with it. Because the movie's 90 minutes. But
I think we were both a little bit surprised. I think that we actually did like it, right? If I remember correctly.
So I loved it then, and I said just a little less.
Bit.
Yeah, it's episode I believe 179. So yeah, how about you, Christina?
So I also have. Did you have a couple?
I did. I really do like our tear down of Indecent Proposal.
Okay, yeah, because that's literally okay.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites. Also, that's my second favorite, which is kind of funny because it's your second favorite, and for the same reason. It's we hated this movie.
Yeah.
And we ripped this thing apart. We ripped their relationship apart.
Mm-hmm.
We ripped their choices, the dialogues, the choices. I mean, this episode is hilarious.
Well, dialogue. I mean, Demi Moore barely speaks.
Well, that's
right.
part of it.
Yeah.
I just love when I feel like we're even more passionate when we don't like something.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think because it's sort of almost like an anger involved because we just wasted so much time.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. Like, oh my God, we had to watch this thing.
And
it's
I sent you a clip. I sent you a clip of Siskel and Ebert from a million years ago. Where Ebert... What movie was it? It was a sequel.
Oh, geez, what was it?
It was a part 2 of something.
I can look it up.
And he said... This movie, he's like, we should be angry as a nation. And he basically said, like, he's like, listen, so I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this piece of garbage. He's like, but look at the box office. That means hundreds, thousands, millions of hours have been wasted. He's like, with all of those hours, we could have solved world hunger. And Gene's like, absolutely, we could have done a clothing drive. Like, he's like, because you really think about it, like movies, they take up time, as does TV. And if you're not, like, especially as we get older, you can't waste time. And it's like, and so I thought that was such a funny clip.
I believe it was, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So you get like frustrated,
you get
defensive,
angry,
and you have. It's so funny. But that episode is hilarious. It was number 181 in Decent Proposal.
And I want to remind people, the person that wrote it, Amy Holden Jones, she wrote Mystic Pizza. She knows what she's doing. There are 3 strong women in Mystic Pizza. There's like nothing to be found in Indecent Proposal in any terms of any type of female strength. So, but sorry, what was your main one?
And then my main favorite episode was The Breakfast Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just fun. Naomi was here. Yeah. And The Breakfast Club was a movie. I mean, it took us 3 years to revisit it, but it was because we had talked to Naomi about it. We had kind of wanted her to be in it. It just never really felt like the right time. So it was one of those movies that I always liked growing up. And so I was excited to even just revisit the movie itself. Yeah. And then the fact that we had Naomi on, and we just all knew the movie so well. Yes. And we was quoting, and we did the reenactment.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was just such a fun episode for me. So with that being said,
I think it's time.
I think it might be time.
For... Welcome, everyone, to the 4th Annual Roomie Awards! Where we take a revisit of our revisits to honor and dishonor the best and worst of our year. Brought to you by Prince of Peace Ginger Chews. That noise you may hear in one of our episodes is a ginger chew. Let's start the show. Here are your hosts, Christina and Brian. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. What a wonderful introduction.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome, everybody, to our Roomie Awards, it's our 3rd Annual Roomie Awards, because our first anniversary special did not have roomies. So it's our 4th anniversary, but it's our 3rd Annual Roomie Awards.
Okay.
So, Brian, should we just hop right in?
1,000%.
1,000%. We have a couple of kind of traditional categories, and we have a couple of different categories. We're going to start with one of the ones from last year.
Yeah. Our first category is craziest rating. Now, part of revisiting things is when, through a middle-age lens, you're thinking, this was rated PG?
Right.
You're clutching your pearls consistently. This was rated G. This was only rated PG-13. What is going on? So we looked back and we individually picked our picks.
Right, and we do not know what we...
No, we do not know.
Yes.
I don't know what Christina has picked. She does not know what I've picked.
All right, and I believe in the past we've taken turns saying the category and revealing. Okay.
So ladies first, because I read the category. So.
All right, so the category is craziest rating.
Craziest rating.
All right, and Brian's answer is... I'm just making sure I got the right one. Okay, Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, we talked.
Interesting.
About this.
Episode number 183.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because Mommy, what's an insane asylum? Like, this movie, for a G-rated movie,
Yes.
insane asylums, killing a duck, stabbing people,
Yeah.
murder, attempted sexual assault.
Interesting.
It's like, come on, Disney.
Yeah.
And that's just the ones, I mean, like, and Christina, you called it out. I thought it was PG, and you're like, I think it's G.
Yeah.
And that is what sent me over the edge for this
Yeah, those Disney
award.
movies, they can be a little tricky at times,
Yeah.
for sure. Especially some of the older ones, too.
Yes.
So, and you had a runner-up.
Oh, yes.
You had Jaws 2 as a runner-up.
And I will say Jaws 1 is much more disturbing
Yeah.
as a PG. This is also PG, Jaws 2. But there are just scenes of terror and trauma. Like that woman on the boat who gasolines herself.
Yes.
Like, and, you know, some morbid imagery. And then just like the sheer terror. And then at one point the shark just comes out of the water and engulfs a woman whole.
Right.
Yeah. And a child.
You want to, you know, like PG is like, it's parental guidance. So
but
you can bring your child as long as you're a child, you know, as long as a parent's with you.
Right. But I think like also like the dragging and like the splatting of Eddie against the boat. There's just a lot of stuff where I'm like, that just the sheer intensity of it, I think, could have warranted an R rating. I might be in the minority on that. Let's see if I am. Christina, your pick for the craziest rating is Child's Play, episode 167.
Yeah, so it was rated R.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't feel like it was that bad. Honestly, on the rewatch, it was a little silly and kind of funny. And to me, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Like, even the violence wasn't that bad because it's a doll. It just didn't seem realistic. And it just didn't, I mean, the violence, like, falling out a window. I mean, I think that easily could have just been PG-13.
Chucky said she was a real bitch and got what she deserved. Andy, how could you?
The fact that I watched with Emily and she was cracking up through the whole thing.
That's a really good one. I was surprised. I actually did think you were going to say Beauty and the Beast because we talked about that quite a bit. Christina?
All right, our next category is something that comes up quite a bit in our revisits.
Yes.
Didn't age well.
Yes. Should I open yours first?
So you can open mine first, yeah.
So didn't age well sort of explains itself.
Yes.
Okay. Christina's pick. Indecent Proposal, episode 181.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, we already talked a little bit about this, but, I mean, the representation of a woman in this movie, it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, Pretty Woman had more respect for women than this movie. The dialogue was awful. I mean, it just did not age well. Even the relationship that they had,
Toxic.
It was not a believable, happy relationship. It was just, you didn't even care if they ended up together.
Completely.
So, to me, it didn't age well in terms of relationships or the representation of a woman.
That's a good pick. You have a runner-up. We just revisited this recently. Vacation, episode 204.
Yeah, this one definitely didn't age well with the murdering of the dog. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this just a couple weeks ago about the incestuous relationship. Things like that just were supposed to be for laughs, and it just is not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Nope.
Very good. So you can open mine.
So Brian's pick was The Shining.
Yes.
Episode number 186.
I really wanted to think about this category because there's so many to pick from.
Yes.
Really, there really are. But this one literally, and I just feel like so much of even basic television is weird right now. Like, so in terms of aging well, like it's not enough. Like, weird doesn't always equal scary. And I was kind of bored watching The Shining, and I have to say, like, even when you watch it, like, say Hulu, I feel like every original show on Hulu, like whether it was Pen 15 from a year ago or like What We Do in the Shadows, everything's like a little weird and a little violent, a little raunch, a little whatever. So it's just not enough to be weird, and it doesn't. So that in that regard doesn't age well. Additionally, as I said in the episode, Jack's character, his descent into madness, nowadays, it truly just looks like he's doing a Jack Nicholson impression from the 90s. It's like Witches of Eastwick. It's As Good as It Gets. It's all those it's like that 90s Jack, A Few Good Men, where he's just like a little off kilter. So it's not very scary. It just isn't scary. And I know we got so much hate on that episode. Someone accused us of being in bad moods. They thought something else was afoot. We were fine.
We were fine.
And to have the same exact feelings is, I was nervous because this movie is a classic. I do think it's well made. I just don't think it aged well through my middle-age lens in there.
Yes, and remember, again, I'm going to say this again. Before you criticize our opinions, re-watch the movie. Just re-watch it with a clear, open mind, right?
Yeah.
You also had a runner-up.
Yeah,
and it was Indecent Proposal.
Yeah, which was your winner, actually.
Yeah.
So the only thing more I'll say is how slim is the dating pool Pickens when she is reduced to dating her John. That's what she's doing.
That's basically what happened, yeah.
Her husband dumps her, she runs to her John.
And do you remember the end where she's in the car? She clearly doesn't want to be with him, but he needs to give her permission to leave. The whole thing is odd.
Cannot believe this was written by a woman. I'm
seriously
shocked.
Yeah.
Best music videos are next category. So now, as we recited the big lineup there, we watched videos from Billy Idol and Aerosmith and not Spice Girls.
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey. Yeah, just a bunch of different ones.
So let's hear you ready for your answer?
Janet Jackson, George Michael. Yep.
Yeah.
So here we go.
So Brian's best music video of the year. Crazy by Aerosmith, episode 180. Tell me about it.
We talk about this a lot. The lost art form of a story in a music video. And this is great. It's a fun story about strong young women, sick of swimming, taking charge, breaking rules, breaking gender norms, picking up shirtless farmers. It was fun. There's also the great sequence with Liv Tyler impersonating her dad on stage and doing the same mannerisms. It's really well done. And they didn't even have to try. At that point in time, Aerosmith was so popular, it could have just been like a Mariah Carey video with just their faces. But all that to say, that was my absolute favorite music video that we revisited.
I almost chose it myself, but I didn't. The runner-up was Pleasure Principle.
Just amazing dancing. It's Janet Jackson in a room. There's so many kinds of dance. There's voguing. There's the Footloose Warehouse homage. It's amazing. She's amazing. She's a very close
She's just so talented. Yeah.
Let's see what Christina picked. Best music video. You cheap tawdry whore. I Want Your Sex.
Yes. I have to say, so this is one of those music videos, and it just stayed with me, and it made me miss George Michael so much, and I loved watching him. The sexy part stuff was good, but I really, really just loved watching him and watching him dancing and just having fun. And then there was a little bit of sexiness in there, and I don't know, it just stayed with me. I think that's why I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Again, I loved the sheets, the satin sheets, that tan, the tan skin and the black satin sheets. That was pretty sexy. Good for you, Christina.
Yeah.
Glad you're able to enjoy yourself on that one.
I don't think I had a runner-up, did I?
No, you did not.
No.
You really liked it.
I did. I did like Crazy, too. I should have probably written Crazy as a runner-up, but I didn't.
This is one of my favorite categories next. I think you say it right.
I'm going to go first. Okay. So this one, this is a funny category, and one of my favorites also. It's the worst line of dialogue.
A lot to choose from.
A lot to choose from.
We get very granular. So, Christina, I'm going to open yours.
You can go first, yeah.
Christina's pick for the worst line of dialogue. Oh, my God. Oh, wow. The Shining. Episode 186. Just a little trouble with the sperm bank upstairs. Oh, my God. I mean, really.
My God. Calling your wife a sperm bank?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Someone wrote that down, and someone said, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Really inappropriate. As if Shelley Duvall hasn't suffered enough in that movie.
Seriously.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That was a great choice. Your runner-up from Fear, Mark Wahlberg, episode 193.
And there's a specific reason about this, too. I know you'll know.
Yes. I was taught if something's too good to be true, it probably isn't. It probably isn't. He says it wrong.
Yeah, he says it wrong. That's why it was the worst dialogue. It's supposed to be, I was taught, if something is too good to be true, it usually is.
Those are both great selections, and weirdly, neither show up on
I'm always wondering like what we choose together. All right, so Brian's worst line of dialogue. Rocky IV. There's a lot I could say about this man. I don't know if it matters now.
He was giving a eulogy of Apollo Creed, and he said, there's a lot I could say about this man. I don't know if it matters now. It's like, this is exactly when it matters. It's exactly when it matters. It's a eulogy.
Oh my gosh!
I thought that was so damn funny.
That's a good.
But
choice.
Christina, my runner-up, I really thought it was going to be your number one.
I almost put.
Did you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I almost didn't actually. I would literally just had this conversation with Matt about this song. So the runner-up for worst line of dialogue, Lois's thoughts.
In Superman.
And this is when they were flying.
Yes.
And the song was going. And she was speaking the thoughts.
It is so bad.
It
is so bad. It is so dumb. The thoughts are dumb. And it's really bizarre. It's like she says, can you read my mind? First of all, the movie's called Superman. It's not called Lois Lane. No. I don't care what you're thinking, girl. I don't care what you're thinking. You could have talked to your friend the next day. Okay? Can you read my mind? I'm holding hands with a god. I'm a fool. Oh my God! It's like you're right. You said it. You said it, girl.
Fool. That's for
Thank you for your high school poetry submissions.
That was terrible.
Up next is a positive one. It's a happy one.
Oh, good. Yes.
Best acting performance, Christina.
I'm doing it first. Yes. Okay. I don't know why this is always confusing to us.
No, I think I opened. No, because you just read mine second.
I just read yours second.
Okay.
So now I'll read yours first.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. Do we have too many categories?
You know what? The Ginger Chew people have pulled this.
Yes, they sure have. They sure have.
Their sponsorship. All right.
Well, with my cough now, it's going to be the CVS Health brand of cherry
cough
drops.
CVS Health. Good for them.
Yeah.
All right. Best
acting performance. Brian's answer. Alicia Silverstone from Clueless.
Yeah.
Good answer. Episode 188.
So this was a very easy one for me. I feel like she was essentially pretty unknown at that point. She's creating this character who on paper is kind of unlikable. Like she's very, you kind of think she's very self-centered and moneyed and like, whatever. Spoiled. Spoiled. She doesn't understand her privilege. But she makes Cher Horowitz incredibly likable very quickly. Her narration is well acted. I just thought it all really worked. And even though Clueless is a 90s classic, I don't think a lot has really been said about her actual performance in it. And she didn't win any, and she won maybe an MTV award or something that, but the Golden Globes, I don't think she was even nominated. There's just other American Comedy Awards she was not even shortlisted on. So I feel like they slept on that performance, and I feel like perhaps it's because they thought that's how she really was. Yeah. And that's not how she really is. So I feel like a great performance that went undervalued, so I rose it to the top.
Nice. She deserves it. Yeah. Alicia, if you're listening, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Your runner-up was Kate Winslet from Titanic.
Speaking of rose to the top.
Oh my God, and Rose! That's a surprising choice.
Yeah, you know what? Quite simply, when I first saw Titanic the first couple times, the acting was beside the point to me because it was the love story, the visuals, the special effects, the thing. And to rewatch it for this podcast, I could focus on different things. And we talked about that where we agreed that we didn't think they had much chemistry. Right. But I think Kate Winslet did a great job of being in love with him. Yeah. And I believed everything that came out of her mouth. I thought it was a great performance, And that's a performance where, listen, I could have picked Kathleen Turner for Romancing the Stone. I could have picked Gwyneth Paltrow for Talented Mr. Ripley. But, but for me, Alicia was the obvious one. Mm-hmm. Ready for yours?
I'm ready.
Christina's best acting performance. Al Pacino. Dog Day Afternoon, episode 166. This is your birthday episode.
This was my birthday episode, and there's just something about this performance. I just love every part of it. I felt his anxiety. I felt you know, and again, you talk about a character that on paper isn't really supposed to be likable. I mean, this guy is a bank robber.
Right.
And he really humanizes this character, who actually was based on a true person anyway. But I thought he did such a phenomenal job trying to be in control, but clearly not being in control, and being so anxious, but trying to just trying to manage all of this craziness that he kind of fell into. He didn't expect to be holding people hostages.
Right.
He thought he was just going to rob a bank and be done with it. So I just love this performance of his. It stayed with me from the moment I first saw it.
This is a case where, so in our birthday episodes, we watch a movie that we haven't, so you make the other one watch a movie they haven't seen before.
Correct. Yeah.
So Christina made me watch Dog Day Afternoon. It was excellent. I loved it. I loved his performance. I loved Chris Sarandon's performance.
He was excellent.
They never took cheap shots at his transgender character. Just a really great movie. I loved the head bank teller. She was amazing. Oh my God. So your runner-up is Miss Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost, episode 161.
I was going back and forth, so it was going to be between her and Rebecca De Mornay from Risky Business, but I chose Whoopi because I felt like a different actress doing this role could have just been a joke. But she really put her heart and soul into this, and it was a flamboyant kind of character, but she had that human aspect to it too. You felt her fear, you felt her compassion, even though she was just like this outrageous kind of character. Yeah. So I just appreciated that.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Thanks. So our next category is, this is one of my favorites.
Oh God, I always feel mean.
I
always feel mean.
It's fine. Okay. It's the worst performance by an A-lister.
Yeah, the key word is A-lister because it's like they're not going to care. They're not going to care. A movie they made 30 years ago and they weren't good in it.
Yes.
So I will read yours first.
Sure.
Christina's pick.
So I hope I just read it because I wasn't sure I was going to put this, but then because of something, just go ahead.
Christina's pick for worst performance by an A-lister. Selma Blair, Cruel Intentions, episode 202.
I mean, there's not much to say about this. I mean, if you listen to the episode, this performance was not only probably the worst out of the 4 years, to be honest. The only reason why I wasn't sure I was going to write down because I wasn't quite sure if she made A-lister status.
She does.
Yeah, I thought she did. But I thought maybe it would be controversial. She was so bad in this. So bad. She was supposed to be playing a 14-year-old. She came off as an 8-year-old. Yeah. She just, I don't know.
There's no, and I'm going to even extend that, really. There's no sense of self-respect. There's no pride in this role that could have just been like, comic relief, but, she could have pretended to have some hidden depth or hidden intelligence, but she goes all out in making this character act like a 4-year-old. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really bad. Your runner-up, Kevin Kline. I'm shocked by this. Kevin Kline, Big Chill. Christina, really quick. Last year, he won at least one award for
he won
French
Best
Kiss.
Accent.
Yeah, Best Accent.
Best Accent. Yeah.
And you love Kevin Kline.
I love Kevin Kline. He is literally probably one of my top 5 actors in the world. I love Kevin Kline, and I think that's why this role, and it was from the Big Chill. Yeah.
Oh, so Big Chill, episode 172.
Yes. That's why it cut me so deep. He just was, it was not a good performance by him. And I hold him to a higher standard.
Yes.
He was so bad. He couldn't cry. He had an accent. Talk about accents.
Oh my God.
His accent went in and out. Yeah. He didn't know what he was supposed to be doing. He was over enthusiastic. Yeah. And it was painful. Because I hold him to such a high standard, I had to put him down as the worst. I'm so sorry, Kevin.
I am stunned.
I am so sorry.
Because you can open mine now.
All right, I can't wait to see what yours is. Okay, worst performance by an A-lister. Selma Blair. Oh my God! Well, seriously, your runner-up was almost my runner-up. I swear to God.
Well, we agree. Listen,
I mean, 202.
We said everything. And I will even go a step further. I blame the director because the director could have said, Selma, let's pull it back a little bit. Like, be a little more layered.
Yeah.
This is it's camp and it's not even camp. It is trash and a campy movie.
It's terrible.
It's just so bad. And I'm going to be really honest. Cruel Intentions is so, crass and raunchy and weird and incestuous and all these things that it takes a lot to be bad in a movie like that, because that's a movie where you would go over the top.
Yes.
Right? I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar did.
Sure.
So it's but this, every scene clashed against the movie.
Yes, for sure. So in your runner-up, which I'm going to say it in a second, but I almost thought you were going to say Glenn Close from Big Chill, because you did not like her performance
at all. No,
but it is
what?
not. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like,
so
you're not.
And the staring off into space.
This isn't the casting call for Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was your runner-up was Tom Cruise from Cocktail.
Yes. So the funny thing is, I think I remember, Cocktail was just, one of those movies. It was a vehicle for him, so he really had to try to be bad, and I think he did. This was so hammy. I just wrote, oh boy. So hammy. Yeah. I felt like, there's so many scenes where he's having way more fun than his character's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel like he's doing these facial expressions for a movie poster series. The best time you'll have in a movie theater. And he is also, and this is like the, one more nail in that cocktail coffin. Mm-hmm. Some of the worst drunk acting I've ever seen. Terrible. When he's drunk and they're walking to the subway, him and Brian Brown, he's singing drunk. I didn't buy a note of it. It was a terrible performance. And he reminded me a lot of his performance in The Outsiders. When he would come in and stumble in and jump on the table. What are you doing? Yeah. Interesting. Good All right, stuff. Our next... Sorry, Selma. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Selma. Well, we actually agreed when we were talking about it that we can't imagine she's like, oh yeah, that was a great work. Yeah, she must agree with that. And also, she has the distinction of actually winning both roomies from both of us. That's right. Yeah. So that's something to be said for being the worst of the worst. For sure. And moving on from it. So our next category is biggest middle-aged lens moment, and we have a lot of these too during the year. So let me see what Christina picked for the biggest middle-aged moment. Whew! The Wizard of Oz, episode 171. Glinda is an asshole. Yes. Revisiting this, you really see Glinda for who she is. She is very self-centered. She doesn't listen. Nope. She's the one that put her in this situation to begin with. She didn't just tell her how to get out of the glass. Well, she's the one that put her in the ruby slippers to begin with. I'm afraid, yeah. Yeah, she doesn't tell her how to get to the friggin' Emerald City. But she's so the biggest lie of all is that she never had to. She never even. Why didn't you just tell her that before? Yep. You wouldn't have believed me. I'm like, I bet she would have. Give it a try. I bet she would have. She was scared shitless. Yep. She would have believed you. She would have just given it a shot, Glinda. Yep. And also, I'm afraid you've made a very bad enemy of the Wicked Witch of the West. It's like, oh, did I? Was it me? Did I, Glinda? Yeah. Oh my God. All right, but you have a runner-up, I do. My dear. Vacation. National Lampoon's Vacation, episode 204. Aunt Edna has a point and isn't really all that bad. She really isn't. She's not that bad. She's not that cranky. She's actually just an aunt who wants to go home. With a safe driver. And freaking, what's his face? Clark. Gets in accidents. He falls asleep at the wheel. He kills her dog. And she yells at him. And I said, yeah, go sister. You're right. You're absolutely right. So there was a midlife crisis, yeah. A middle-aged lens look at Aunt Edna. Oh my God. I agreed with her. Maybe I'm the aunt this time, right? All right, let's hear what your answers are. Okay. Biggest middle-aged lens moment. Reality Bites. Episode 177. Troy sucks. Troy sucks. Troy really did suck. He sucked. And the reason, worst anything, oh my God. The reason I bring this up, the reason why this rose to the top for me is because you have to keep in mind, this is one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies. Mm-hmm. For a long, long time. And on rewatch, he is so unlikable, so irredeemable. I'm sorry, your dad's sick. That's not a pass to be a raging, misogynistic, asshole to everyone in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina, we talked about this too. I rooted for them to not end up together.
Yeah.
Winona and him,
That's
their characters.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I feel like, and I wrote this, because I did put some thought into this, and I was like, were we all just looking for a challenge in the mid-90s in our dating lives? Like, why would we not want Ben Stiller? Why would we not want like a successful person who likes us? Why would we want this like
he was the enemy
miserable
back then,
guy?
right?
Yeah.
Back then we're like, oh no, he's like
no, he's wrong. He's all wrong for her. He's smart, successful, cute,
and he's good to her.
And he's really nice to her. Yeah. So weird.
Rejected. Let's go with the asshole who ignores her.
Yeah, of course.
And basically abuses her.
Completely. He humiliates her repeatedly in front of people.
Yep. And you had a runner-up.
Yeah. So, did I write those words?
You wrote Indecent Proposal, episode 181 again, and in the parentheses, Big Deal? ?
So, yeah, basically I was like, honestly, guys, get over it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the big deal here? It's not like you have to fuck Wilford Brimley. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's Robert Redford. He is a gorgeous movie star.
Yeah.
Like, you are destitute. You don't have a pot to piss in. Just screw the guy. You guys, I mean, please.
And then the whole, like, not talking about it afterwards.
Ugh.
Like that whole stupid thing.
To me, like, have some faith in your marriage that if you're going to entertain this, live by it. Because there's still a story
and make
there.
a joke about it. Remember we talked about that. Like, make a little joke about it.
Have Robert Redford be the one that's super hurt. We talked about that.
Hey,
there are other ways to tell this story.
You could have said he couldn't get it up.
Yeah.
You could have said his ass
and
was
then he
all
finds
wrinkly.
out. And then he finds out that maybe Robert Redford videotaped it, and he sends him the videotape.
Yeah.
And then there you go. So it's like, enough's enough. Like, I mean, to me, this was not a big deal as is. And they just didn't do enough with the concept.
Yeah.
That's a big middle-age lens, because I think, to be honest, most marriages, I really believe this day and age, if you are broke, if you're going to lose your house, if you're going to, I mean, you know, I don't know if it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if your relationship is
it'd have to be more than $1 million.
enough.
It'd be more than $1 million, but not that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, inflation. You know?
Right, yeah. All right, so am I reading the next one? The category?
Yes.
All right. This is also a rough one. And it's the hardest, most hurtful one, I think, because there's nothing worse than an unfunny comedy.
Agreed.
So, the category is unfunniest comedy.
Yes, and your answer was, by default, Strange Brew, episode 196.
So I think we were lucky with our comedies this year.
I agree. I was saying the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that.
I didn't really even hate Strange Brew. It's really by default. The reason why I single them out is because there are stretches of this movie where they're not even in it. And the whole point of this movie was to showcase them, and it didn't showcase them.
Right.
So that was my pick.
Yeah, episode 196, and there was no runner-up.
No, because like I said, I didn't
surprise me.
I didn't dislike. I think I have a feeling I know what you're going to pick, but we'll see. Unfunniest comedy, Christina's Roomie Award, goes to not Vacation. Oh shit! I am surprised by your runner-up. Oh. I am really surprised by your runner-up.
I forget. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, Christina! All right, so your pick for unfunniest comedy is Vacation, episode 204, National Lampoons.
Yeah, it was only a couple weeks ago that we revisited this, and I just felt like the jokes did not land. I chuckled here and there, and it was disappointing because I thought I used to think it was really funny, and they're just like the jokes were just really, really inappropriate and just not funny at all. Not funny at all.
Sorry.
Brian just dropped
all the envelopes.
Of the envelopes.
Out of order. Yep.
Oh boy.
But your runner-up really, really does surprise me.
So the runner-up, go ahead,
the
say it.
Second half, very specific.
Yeah.
The second half of Airplane.
So
episode
let me be clear. It is
191.
absolutely just the second half. The first half, I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought it held up. It wasn't as offensive as I thought it was going to be. I really enjoyed all of those scenes, all of the reminiscing and all of that. It wasn't until after they started getting sick that it just fell flat for me. It was like recycled jokes, and I don't even think I laughed during, maybe it wasn't the half, maybe it was like the last third of the movie.
Yeah.
But it was just, even like inside the airport.
Well, we talked about that for sure. Like that whole thing with Lloyd Bridges.
The Lloyd Bridges thing,
none
it
of it really worked. It was weird.
Yeah, it was really weird. So it started off so strong, and then it ended just like very weak.
Yeah.
So I had to throw that in there.
All right.
All right, so our next category is Best Revisit.
Favorite revisit.
Well, you wrote best.
You
on
wrote
yours.
favorite.
So it is favorite movie. That was our favorite revisit.
The best favorite revisit.
Yes.
So Christina, this is a huge category. This is why we do this.
This is a huge category.
This is a huge win for whoever's in this envelope.
Yeah.
Congratulations. This is no small feat.
It's big, 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 big.
Christina's award for best revisit goes to
Favorite.
Romancing the Stone,
Yes.
episode 199.
Romancing the Stone. I enjoyed this movie even more than I did, I think. And again, it was like one of those things. I was kind of nervous. I didn't think it was going to hold up. I really didn't think it was going to hold up. But the chemistry was amazing. The jokes were still funny. Danny DeVito was great. The action was still there.
Yeah.
I was still on the edge of my seat. It was awesome. It was just as fun and funny and romantic and all that as I remembered it to be.
This almost made my runner-up, Romancing the Stone. But your runner-up is Mr. Mom. I would say great choices.
Thank you very much.
Episode 182.
And Mr. Mom, for very similar reasons. I didn't think it was going to hold up, but it really, really held up. It wasn't cheesy. It had that almost Uncle Buckish kind of feel to it, where he's doing his best. He's, maybe not doing everything correctly, but he's doing his best. The villain was mean, and, it was just really, really funny. The lines were great. The kids' acting was pretty good, considering. And just the evolving story and all of that. The one complaint I had was that she didn't keep her job at the end.
Yeah.
And she didn't get a job at the end, which would have been nicer.
Yeah.
But I loved that revisit so much. And I still recommend it to people. You should rewatch Mr. Mom.
2 great picks.
Yes. All right, let's hear what your best/favorite revisit was. Ghost.
Yeah.
Episode 161.
Okay, so this movie, I just loved rewatching it. It was combined, you mentioned this about Whoopi Goldberg's character too. It combines so many genres of like mystery, suspense, thriller, love story, comedy, action. It does it so well. It really was like, this is when, this is when I loved movies. I would go to the movies all the time. And for a movie, and it was nominated for Best Picture, yes. It received plenty of accolades. But I just really loved all the actors were very committed. I love Whoopi. Demi, I don't think has ever been better, truly. Patrick Swayze, it's just such a popcorn, enjoyable movie. I loved rewatching it. I couldn't wait to talk about it. Yeah.
That's a good choice. Really good choice. And then your runner-up was Clueless.
I know. I've mentioned Clueless a couple of times now, but oh my God. Because when I'm watching it, I was saying dialogue with it.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it in probably 20 years, maybe 15, 20 years. And since then, this is the biggest kicker, I've seen it twice since our revisit. I watched it on the plane to Turks and Caicos a few months ago. And I watched it and I was just home. I just put it on. But it was like, it's such a fun, enjoyable, there's again, a committed cast.
Yeah.
Great characters, great dialogue, really funny bits of dialogue that and
it held
recited.
up.
And it did hold
up. Yeah, it held up
yeah.
when you're not sure if it's going to, but yeah.
Okay, we only have 2 categories left.
2 more categories.
They're
I
big
can't
ones.
believe it.
They're big ones. So, and speaking of big, this is hurtful.
Yeah.
The biggest waste of time.
Yeah, so this is a big one for me too. It's like, we invest a lot of time into these things.
We sure do.
And when you come out of it like, ugh, then, it's tough. So Brian's biggest waste...
I think we ended with me, Ghost and Clueless, right? So now we're going to start with you.
So I start with your answer.
Oh my God, why can't I figure this out? Oh my God, I'm so confused.
Just leave it to me, okay?
Good, yeah, sorry. Christine, just direct
So your biggest waste of time, aside from this conversation... Stepmom. Wow. Okay, episode 185.
Let me tell you this.
This is very surprising.
Let me tell you this. I really used to love this movie. I love the drama. I love the diva-ness of it all. Julia Roberts, Susan Sarandon. I loved it. But That was then. This is now. This has become such a chore filled with fake sentiment. Like, we talked about this. The changes of heart based on nothing. Yep. No one's changed, but they just feel differently about how they feel based on nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Forced sing-alongs. Julia Roberts' laugh in her oh-so-natural way of waking up in the morning. Bitchy kids who clearly watch too many soap operas because they have some of the best, bitchiest, cattiest dialogue in the movie.
Yeah, you hated that girl.
Yep, and not a single one even identifies the fact that they have a whole lot going on for themselves. I mean, they have horses. They have multiple homes, multiple cars. And yet it never, like, Susan Sarandon's character, when she's sick, there's never even, like, she gets this fancy doodah chemotherapy attachment. And it's just like, cool. It's like, cool, it might save your life, lady. Like, and it made me increasingly more annoyed. It is a soggy, dense movie that had 5 writers.
Yeah. Oh, that's all the writers. That's right. I forgot about that.
So, and it's
and
also,
all those
and
writers, and the father was nowhere to be found.
No. Why are they fighting over him? He works 7 days a week.
Terrible,
what are they fighting over?
Terrible husband, terrible father.
Yeah.
And the girl, they kept giving her pets that she completely ignored.
The kid, the magician.
That?
Yeah, the
that
magician.
Girl, oh my God. She was terrible, ungrateful.
Yep.
And then and Julia Roberts' character, she's like having sex in the shower while the kids are.
Oh my God!
It's like, come on, no common sense. These characters had no common sense.
Yeah, and the reason why this went over my runner up is because it's longer.
Yeah, so the runner up was My Girl, number 195. That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, well, again, as I'm going through our scroll of episodes, those two kept popping up like sore thumbs. It's like My Girl is like it tried to be a really cute film about death.
Yeah.
And ultimately I thought it was a waste of time. I feel like we talked about this. I think I felt differently than you, but I felt like the child actors were not great multiple times. And I like Jamie Lee Curtis in it, but that was kind of where it ended. It was a bit slow, a bit like the characters weren't super likable.
Yeah.
And the only reason it wasn't my biggest waste of time is because it was a little shorter.
Yeah.
Than Stepmom.
Okay. That makes sense. All right, we'll see what mine is.
All right, here we go. Christina's
time.
award for the biggest waste of time.
And I'll tell you, this hurt writing it down.
I'm surprised by this because it's short. Strange Brew, episode 196.
So,
this movie's 85 minutes.
I know, and yet I still felt like I wasted time watching it. And here's the thing, I liked the movie.
What?
But I liked it. Like the first part, I liked when they were in it.
Yeah.
And I liked their interactions with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all that other bullshit. It was like the crazy conspiracy storyline.
Oh my God.
The space laser things. The using the mentally challenged people.
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing, and nobody really understood what they were trying to do. They had this whole thing, this big storyline that nobody was clear on. Like, what are they trying to do? Run the world? I don't understand. Yeah. And that part of it was just so hard to watch. I just felt like I wasted my time watching it. And I almost felt bad that I rewatched it because it tainted my memory of it, too. So
oh, no.
That was part of it.
You have a runner-up. It's really funny. I don't remember you hating this movie that much, but here we are. Your runner-up for the biggest waste of time is Cruel Intentions, episode 202.
Yeah, I guess I didn't hate it, but I did feel like it was a waste of time. I felt like the story, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking about Dangerous Liaisons. I felt like the performances were not great. I felt like the writing was terrible. And just, I was glad when it ended. I was just happy that it was done. So, yeah, very disappointing.
All right. Moving right along to our final award of the episode. This is it. This is what it all boils down to. Mm-hmm. Most nostalgic.
Yes.
Most nostalgic.
Because this is really why we do it a lot of times, right? It's just for the nostalgia of it. I mean, I love the nostalgia of it.
Christina's pick for most nostalgic. Schoolhouse Rock, episode 201. Stunned. Stunned, Christina. You are an enigma wrapped in a riddle. This is very recent. Very recent.
It was. Yeah. It was very recent. Just a few weeks ago. And I mean, I have to tell you, like, I I loved rewatching these. Although I didn't agree with them, I didn't feel the same way that I did on a lot of them. The songs, the animation, all of it was just so fun to revisit. And I keep telling people, actually, even up until like last night, I think I was talking to somebody, I'm like, you should revisit these because they were so fun to revisit. Even like the Time for Timer with the hankering for
I would say
cheese.
especially so, Time for Timer.
You know, all of these, the noun, the bill, the conjunction, you know, all of those were just so much fun to revisit. And just, I don't know, I was like transported back into my childhood watching Saturday morning cartoons when I was watching it. So I enjoyed it. Although, I didn't agree with a lot of it, but I enjoyed the nostalgia of it.
Like the preamble.
The preamble was terrible.
Oh my God. You have a runner-up, though.
Yes.
Melrose Place,
yes.
episode 165.
That was a real fun revisit for me. I went way back again. Loved the characters. I forgot a lot about personalities of the characters. I just thought it was just so fun being back in the 90s, just like the fashions and like all of that was just so fun. The music and just the attitudes and the drama, and I mean that was really, really fun for me.
Right.
Can I give you like an honorary mention though? I gotta say,
sure.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes.
Yeah. Mary Tyler Moore. I really struggled. I almost put that as number one, but when it all comes down to it, like I really enjoyed that revisit, but it wasn't as nostalgic for me as the other two. So anyway, all right. So let's hear what your most nostalgic revisit. Oh, Melrose Place, episode 165. I thought you were going to do Mary Tyler Moore.
I was very close, but I didn't do a runner-up, did I?
No, there was no runner-up.
So from the theme song to the bitchy dialogue to the office backstabbing to the everything. But the big thing for me was like the reason. I mean, very nostalgic. I mean, this was Monday night. Like, I mean, I watched this with different friends over the years because it was on for a long time. But that was like Monday night viewing, and there was always the big cliffhangers, and it was like. But one thing in particular is that I was really afraid of revisiting this because I was like, oh, the acting is going to be abysmal.
Yeah.
The acting is good,
so
you
good.
guys. It's so good.
good.
The line readings, the bitchiness, the trauma, the tragedy, everything. Even the one-liners that are meant to be funny are landed. Yeah. Sydney, Laura Leighton, and Michael, and Jane. And, I mean, like, and you still get yourself annoyed at the same things like every Billy does. But, like, what a fun revisit.
That was a really fun one. I'm so glad we did that.
So nostalgic for those episodes, those times. And you said you kept watching a little bit.
I did, yeah. I watched a few more episodes. I went into the next season and all that. So yeah, it was really, really fun. But yeah, so I mean, those were our Roomie Awards. Can we give a round of applause to all of our winners? Even with the negative categories. But you know what? You're still winners in our book.
You are winners.
Winners of the worst.
Because you've been isolated from a pack of dozens of episodes. So I mean, really, I mean, be very proud of yourselves.
It was, really, that's quite a feat.
And we've seen a lot.
We have seen a lot.
To even be shortlisted is quite something.
So we are taking a little bit of time off, not long, just the month of August.
Yes.
So that we can regroup, refocus, relax,
sleep,
all the other re's.
Yeah.
And, maybe go away and all that. But we want to assure you that we will be back in September. Our next episode will be, I'm looking it up right now.
The titles include, we're not quite sure of the order. We have not dove in yet. But
right, but September 5th is when we'll be back.
So mark your calendar. We return September 5th. Some of the things you can expect are 16 candles.
16 candles.
The Godfather.
Epic. The Godfather.
And many more surprises.
And Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, Kindergarten Cop. Yes, that's on the roster.
That's on the roster. So we have a lot coming up. We thank you so much for listening this year.
And
please take this time in August to go back in some of our episodes and re-listen or listen to ones that you might not have listened to before.
Go watch some old movies and then revisit the episodes.
And all that. But thank you so much.
Thank you. We love you guys. Thanks for listening.
September.
Yay! 4 years. And And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.